So in a few days, we'll be reaching the 1 month anniversary of Red Dead Redemption 2's release, a game that was so anticipated by the whole gaming community, a game that promised to revolutionize gaming as we know it and bring it into a whole new level. And with that, I believe it succeeded. I believe that this game will easily win Game of the Year due to the amazing gameplay it provided to all of us who played it. For me, personally, what got me hooked to the game was the hard work put by Rockstar to make Red Dead's experience as immersive as possible. They really pushed the idea of realism in a sandbox game to a new meaning. For some people, it was that realism that turned them down from the game and made them dislike, if not hate the game after buying it. I do agree, sometimes the extra realism presented by Rockstar was not always needed. Best example I can provide of this, I'm sure a lot of people will agree, is the walking in camp part that everyone hated. I could be only going into camp to give them some food so they won't whine to me the next day, but Pearson would put his wagon on the other side of camp and I'd have to walk there and back, taking so much extra time for such a simple task. However, we can complain about the unneeded realism as much as we want, but we can't deny that it served its purpose, that being immersion. The game's all-out small details and gameplay, alongside of course the NPCs, made me feel like I was in a different other world when I played it. But I kept noticing something that I usually don't notice in other games. I was so immersed in the world that the usual running around and doing the random cowboy shenanigans would not break my immersion, but as soon as I'd go back into the main mission, something just felt off. Now, just a disclaimer up ahead, I will be talking about the story from beginning to end, so if you have not yet played the game, you should probably turn off the video and experience the story by yourself. With that being said, I will provide two parts in this video. I'll divide this video into two parts, one being the story in general and the stuff that I found some flaws in, and one being how the story affected my gameplay when I was not doing main missions. So first things first, you could obviously realize that I loved the game from all the stuff that I said in the start of the video, and I still stand by my belief that Red Dead Redemption 2 is going to take Game of the Year. But if the Game of the Year award was given only according to a game's story and not other factors, then Red Dead Redemption 2 would have no chance in front of games like God of War or Detroit Become Human. Don't get me wrong, the story was fairly good with enjoyable turns of events and an ending that was not perfect, but it still moved emotions in a lot of people. So why exactly is the story not as good as the rest of the game? I'll provide examples of key events that really broke my immersion and left me thinking, what the heck just happened? There are also smaller events in the story that I believe were not as well written as well, but I'll not provide much examples of these as it will take a lot of time. So the first thing I noticed while doing the missions after reaching midway chapter 2 and onto, well, the rest of the game frankly, is the repetition in missions. Every mission I did was bound to change from a simple stroll that Uncle invited me to me killing a dozen of people, changing the colors of Mother Nature red with the blood of unwashed cowboys. It just kept repeating missions so much, the scenario kept repeating so much, it just broke immersion after the first 12 times that it happened. It was always the same thing. I go do a mission expecting to get some money, then some people walk out of nowhere, a gunfight happens. It's always the same thing, changes from a stroll to a gunfight. It just broke immersion. Another point, and this one bothered me a lot, was the convenience throughout the game. It was like God had left the whole of humanity and turned into taking care of these murderers in a gang. I mean, think about it. When you break out Micah of the jail, oh, would you look at this machine I can use to break the jail wall right off? Or, oh, damn, Jack got kidnapped. Too bad he's going to take us into a new lead and a new bank heist. Which I know goes very bad, but you can still see my point. There's also the time that Miss O'Shea, or O'Shea, I don't really know how to pronounce her name, decided to drunkenly admit that she was the one that ratted out while we'd know it was Micah. And boom, she gets shot. And now Micah's more hidden than ever. It is never mentioned that Micah might have tricked her or forced her to say anything. No, it just happened. From all the stuff she could have said, she decided to say that. The list goes on, but this was the biggest issue I personally had with the game, that the amount of convenience was beyond that to be believed. And while we mentioned Miss O'Shea, I think Calm was there was a part that there was that mission with Calm that really destroyed my immersion. It was that mission deserves the Medal of Honor of the most what the fuck moment in the whole game. It's that mission where you accompany Dutch to go to a peace treaty with Calm, and then you get kidnapped. I mean, first of all, you went with Dutch, so when Dutch didn't see you coming back with him, shouldn't he have been like, this is not good? Where is he? You were like right up the hill. He could have just went there and checked. Plus, the people that kidnapped you were like barbecuing up there, so like it just didn't make any sense. Second of all, what's the point of Calm kidnapping Arthur and then leaving Dutch to go back to the gang and then hoping that Dutch would come back and save Arthur to recapture Dutch and the rest of the gang? He could have just captured both of you, secured the biggest two fishes, and then he would have had the same outcome if the gang would have came to rescue Arthur or not. If the gang came to rescue Dutch and Arthur, then he would have captured them. If not, then he would have taken you two, at least, to the law. Like, it just did not make any sense. I mean, the law was already looking for Dutch only. They didn't care about the others. It's these small stuff that just really confused me. Now, these are the big elephants in the room that I personally had a problem with, but there's also small stuff in missions that really confused me too. For example, that mission where you go into Rhodes to meet Sheriff Gray. You're with Micah, Sean, and Bill Williamson, and Sean gets shot in the face, and apparently it was a trap, and now this cool gunfight appears out of nowhere, and you're shooting your way out of the situation, and Sheriff Gray's the last one left in his office, and you have to go talk to him. So you and Micah only, you walk up to his office, and he appears that he has captured Billy Williamson. He's putting a gun into Bill's head, and he has 3 people by his side, and you're only with Micah. How the hell do you manage to shoot him and then rescue Bill at the same time? Like, it just does not make any sense. Don't you think if they were to delete just the 2 people from the equation, then it was just him and another person, that would have been more believable. Micah could shoot the other person, you could shoot the Sheriff Gray in the face. Like, it just makes it more believable. Now, the second point of the video that I want to make is what got me depressed while playing the game. That was that this character that I loved so much, that I bonded with, that I murdered and killed and saved poor NPCs with, was dying right there in front of me, and I could do nothing about it. The decision to have Arthur with tuberculosis was frankly just an all-out weird decision. I mean, I understand the aspect that he knows death is coming, so he makes himself a better man, supposedly. But if you were planning to kill him, and right in front of our eyes, why would you think this way would have been the best way? I mean, after he was diagnosed and was dying while coughing blood and barely being able to eat anything because he was sick, and also losing so much weight that people in town kept telling me, "Oh, partner, you look so thin now." I just wanted the game to finish. I wanted him to die and be over with this shitty feeling that I'm feeling watching him all week like this. I stopped exploring because every time he coughed, I remembered that, oh yeah, he's dying. So I just super rushed through the story until he died, and I was John, which at least was not dying of anything, and then I could explore again. If they wanted to give him tuberculosis for whatever plot they wanted, they could have given him a realistic chance of survival by letting him discover he had it early. For example, he would try and finish his business with a gang and go live in the West where it's dry, which is good for his illness, and he would have made all these future plans that would get us excited for, and maybe in the end either Dutch or Micah could have put him down if you really wanted to, if Rockstar really wanted him to die. I mean, if you have low honor and you had the cutscene where Micah killed you, then it doesn't really make much of a difference. But for my case, I crawled to the sunrise and died peacefully because of the goddamn tuberculosis. It was just a disappointing death. It wasn't the same as Red Dead Redemption 1's death. It was just not expected at all. They backstab you, then they come shoot you in front of the barn. This one was just a more depressing death, and eventually. Anyways, at that point, I'll be finishing the video about the stuff that really bothered me about Red Dead Redemption 2's story. I really expected the story to match the amazing gameplay, as Red Dead Redemption 1's story was great, but we instead got this, which wasn't as well written as the first one, to say the least. If I missed a point, tell me in the comment section if you have any point that you noticed that I didn't notice. And if you liked the video, then don't forget to subscribe. I could really use any subscribers at this point. Thanks for watching, and have a good day.